Hello everyone, welcome back. So we are in our mega project of building a Raspberry Pi PC, and as the first step what we got to do is to unbox all these components, and we'll start with the Raspberry Pi. Please make sure that you have some sort of grounding so that you will not damage the Raspberry Pi due to electrostatic discharge. This is the Raspberry Pi, as you can see, and it has an Ethernet port and 4 USB port. This also supports 2 HDMI ports which can be connected to 2 4K displays and a USB-C power supply and also an SD card. And it also has a extension module to be connected with PCIe, and which we are going to use for NVMe. This casing is from a company called Argon, and they are providing it with a lot of value additions, such as having a built-in cooling fan and also the space for a NVMe device. It also has an NVMe adapter. The casing can be easily be separated, and once you have the components in, it can be screwed. So by selecting this casing, I got the advantage of having the built-in cooling fan, as well as the ability to have a hardened case, and also the ability to connect a NVMe drive with the Raspberry Pi. There's a cable inside this small pouch and some thermal paste. So this cable is used to connect the NVMe drive with the PCI port of the Raspberry Pi. You have to unscrew the back of the device in order to insert the NVMe disk there. Let's remove the NVMe drive from its casing, so then we can connect it with the Raspberry Pi. There are 4 screws in the bottom of this casing, and you have to remove them in order to remove the cover that has the bay for the NVMe drive. Inside the bay you have a thermal paste or a sticker. You can paste it on the NVMe drive and insert it to the slot that is available in the bottom of the casing, and then screw it using the small screw nut that has been provided. When you connect the NVMe drive, it's a bit rigid, that is okay, so press it down in order to put the screw. You may not be able to do it on the first attempt, but that's okay, just try. It's a bit delicate, but you should be able to do it. Attach the thermal paste on top of the NVMe drive, so then it can provide good cooling to the drive. I referred the manual in order to connect the data cable, and I did it as per the manual, but later found out that the way I did was wrong. You have to remove these cellophane protectors from the thermal paste before putting the cover back. Please make sure that the cover seats well when you have the driver inside it. This is where I got it wrong. This particular cable has to be connected with the casing's NVMe port and with the PCI port of the Raspberry Pi, and it's a bit tricky. So I tried a couple of times to do it. One thing is, it's difficult to insert. Before the Raspberry Pi is inserted into the casing, you have to paste these thermal paste on the chips as shown in the handbook of the Raspberry Pi. The mistake I did, and the thermal paste has to be applied on these 2 chips. If you see, those are the chips that are closer to the HDMI ports. Once you have attached the thermal paste, you have to connect the cable from the casing with the PCIe port of the Raspberry Pi. This is very tricky, because if you have not done it properly, you will not be able to close the casing with the proper cable management. As you can see, you get 2 such cables. I think the second one is extra. Once you connect the PCIe cable with the Raspberry Pi, you can flip it over and assemble the rest of the parts. But that's where I found that I have made a mistake, because when you try to do it like that, you won't be able to use the cable management inside the Raspberry Pi casing. So we found out that before connecting the PCIe cable, you have to first connect the cooling fan with the Raspberry Pi using the cable management that is shown in the diagram, and then connect the PCIe cable through the cable management that is available. So that was a mistake we did, and we learned it a bit hard way. On the other hand, this is no rocket science, so once you play with it, you will learn it. These are tiny, delicate instruments, so you have to be careful and have a lot of patience when you are accomplishing these tasks. Either the cable management, you have to use that, otherwise the things will be in a mess. So once you are done with the cooling fan cable, then you can connect the cable from the NVMe to the PCIe port as shown earlier. So we have to use this cable management path in connecting the PCIe cable, otherwise it will be a mess and we will not be able to close the case. After you have finished all that, you can close the case carefully, doing the mild adjustment so that everything fits well, and you can tighten the screws. This is how it looks after you have assembled. You have all the ports available to the outside, and if you want a UART port, you have to remove the casing and use a specific cable. Now it's time to connect with the monitor and the keyboard and power it up so that we can see it. Here I have not shown you the part where I flashed an Ubuntu image to the Raspberry Pi NVMe drive using Rufus, which if you want you can comment in the comment section and I will show you how. You connect the mini HDMI to HDMI converter and the HDMI port, and then connect the power and switch on the device, and you will get the Ubuntu operating system. There you go, you get the desktop version of Ubuntu running on Raspberry Pi. Thank you for watching.